A gunman opened fire in a supermarket in Boulder, Colorado on Monday, killing 10 people, including a police officer. It's the second week in a row that a mass shooting has rattled America. President Biden, a longtime supporter of gun control, urged Congress to pass tougher laws.
I don't need to wait another minute, let alone an hour, to take common sense steps that will save the lives in the future and to urge my colleagues in the House and Senate to act. We can ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines in this country once again.
But Congress has shown no sign of being willing to act. Republicans are dead set against the restrictions that House Democrats passed earlier this month. Sahil, it feels like we've seen this movie before. We have a terrible massacre. Democrats talk about gun control. Republicans oppose it, and then nothing happens. President Biden, in fact, of course, was in charge of the Obama administration's attempt to get gun control through after the Newtown shooting of school children back in 2012, and it went nowhere. So if Congress wasn't willing to do something when school children were killed, what reason is there to think that anything might happen now, or is this just a quixotic quest on the part of Democrats?
Peter, the single biggest difference is that now Democrats control the trifecta. They have the White House, they have the Senate, and they have the House. That was not the case in 2013 when Republicans controlled the House, and the understanding was anything that could get through the Senate was dead on arrival there. This is the first time since the early 1990s when President Biden was involved in this effort that Democrats had the trifecta and pursued gun control. So that's a key difference. Theoretically, there is a path to get a majority in the House, a majority in the Senate, and something to President Biden's desk. The House has passed a couple of bills to expand background checks and close some loopholes in the system, but this is proving to be a very heavy lift in the Senate to just get 50 votes, let alone 60 votes. And the reason is those two background check bills don't have the support of Senator Manchin in the Senate. I think we're noticing a trend here. But there is a bill that he wrote with the Republican Senator Pat Toomey that's a watered down version of that. It expands background checks to commercial gun sales online and at gun shows where they can go forward in some states without a background check. But it creates broader exemptions for person-to-person transfers and private sales and families and that sort of thing. Right now, even that bill doesn't have the 60 votes needed, but it has between 50 and 60 votes. If there is anything to be done, Peter, on gun control, it's going to center on that. But of course, the problem with this debate is always that once you start going down this road, there's a powerful community in the gun rights world that will portray any gun control as the first step in repealing the Second Amendment and taking your guns away. And that's a powerful motivating force that gets a lot of single issue gun voters to flood offices with calls, and it scares members of Congress out of doing anything. That's what we saw in 2013. And that certainly could be where this is headed if Democrats don't find a way to pull a rabbit out of the hat.
Errin, we've just got about a minute or so left, but the president, when he was asked about gun control at that press conference, really dealt with it in passing and quickly pivoted to talk about infrastructure. Was that a concession that he doesn't really think that gun control will be his priority given the legislative obstacles that Sahil just talked about?
Well, I don't know. I certainly don't want to speak to what could possibly be in President Biden's mind, but I do think that what it does reflect is something that we saw happening in that inaugural press conference with President Biden, which was as much a test for him as it was reporters, right? I mean, he would like to be focused on the pillars that he and President Harris said that they inherited when they came into office, namely the economy, the pandemic, climate change, and racial equity. Yet that was not, the agenda that was on the table in yesterday's press conference. You heard everything from voting rights to immigration, as we discussed, to filibuster reform, to asking, about those things instead. And so, while there are things that certainly he would like to stick to, the events of the day certainly overtake that agenda, or at least in this case. But that just goes to show that there need to be more of these briefings. And so hopefully there will be more early and often.